Hi, and welcome back to AWS Academy, Lab 3, Introduction to Amazon EC2 walkthrough. We're going to go ahead and go over Task 1 on how to launch your Amazon EC2 instance. In this task, you will launch an Amazon EC2 instance with termination protection. Termination protection prevents you from accidentally terminating an EC2 instance. You will deploy your instance with a user data script that will allow you to deploy a simple web server. Now, as you can see here, we're in the AWS Management Console, and from here, the first step is to choose Services, which you'll see here on the left-hand corner. Then choose Compute and choose EC2. So Compute is down here on the left-hand side, and then we're going to go ahead and select EC2. Note, verify that your EC2 console is currently managing resources in the North Virginia US East 1 region. And we can see here we're in North Virginia, US East 1. If it does not indicate North Virginia, choose the North Virginia region from the region menu before proceeding to the next step. Next, we're going to choose Launch Instance menu and select Launch Instance. So this is the Launch Instance menu, and we're going to select Launch Instance. Step 1. Name and tags. Given the instance, the name web server. So here under the name tags field, we're going to type in web server. The name you give this instance will be stored as a tag. Tags enable you to categorize your AWS resources in different ways. For example, by purpose, owner, or environment. This is useful when you have many resources of the same type. You can quickly identify and specify resource based on the tags you have assigned to it. Each tag consists of a key and a value, both of which you define. You can define multiple tags to associate with the instance if you want to. And in this case, the tag that will be created will consist of a key called name with a value of web server. Now to step 2. Application and OS images, Amazon Machine Image. In the list of available Quick Start AMIs, keep the default Amazon Linux AMI selected. So as you can see here, these are our options between Amazon Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu, Windows, Red Hat. We're going to keep this at Amazon Linux. An Amazon Machine Image AMI provides the information required to launch an instance, which is a virtual server in the cloud. An AMI includes a template for the root volume for the instance, for example, an operating system or an application server with applications, launch permissions that control which AWS accounts can use the AMI to launch instances, and a block device mapping that specifies the volumes to attach to the instance when it is launched. The Quick Start list contains the most commonly used AMIs. You can also create your own AMI or select an AMI from the AWS Marketplace, an online store where you can sell or buy software that runs AWS. And by the way, the Marketplace option is here onto the right-hand side where it says Browse for more AMIs. Now step 3, Instant Type. We're going to go down to the section that says Instant Type so you can see it more clearly. In the Instance Type panel, keep the default T2 Micro selected. So as you can see here, we're already here, and it is a free tier eligible. Amazon EC2 provides a wide selection of instance types optimized to fit different use cases. Instance types comprise varying combinations of CPU, memory storage, and networking capacity, and give you the flexibility to choose the appropriate mix of resources for your applications. Each instance type includes one or more instance sizes, allowing you to scale your resources to the requirements of your target workload. The T2.micro instance type has one virtual CPU and 1 GB of memory. You may be restricted from using other instance types in this lab. Key lock. So you're going to select the drop down here under key pair name, and we're going to select the VOC key. Amazon EC2 uses public key cryptography to encrypt and decrypt login information. To ensure you will be able to log into the guest OS of the instance you create, you identify an existing key pair or create a new key pair when launching the instance. Amazon EC2 then installs the key on the guest OS when the instance is launched. That way, when you attempt to log into the instance and you provide the private key, you will be authorized to connect to the instance. Note, in this lab, you will not actually use the key pair you have specified to log into your instance. Now, in step 5, we're going to take a look at network settings. Next to network settings, choose Edit. As a default for 172.31.0.0 WAC 16, but if you hit the drop down here, you're going to see other options, and we're looking for the one that says Lab VPC here on the bottom, and we're going to select that. The Lab VPC was created using an AWS CloudFormation template during the setup process of your lab. This VPC includes 2 public subnets and 2 different availability zones. Note, keep the default subnet. This is the subnet in which the instance will run. Notice also that by default, the instance will be assigned in a public IP address. Next, under Firewall, Security Groups, choose Create Security Group and Configure. So we already have Create Security Group, and then we're going to configure the security group name as Web Server Security Group. Let's get rid of all this stuff at the beginning. And then under the description, we're going to type in security group for my web server. A security group acts as a virtual firewall that controls the traffic for one or more instances. When you launch an instance, you associate one or more security groups with the instance. You add rules to each security group that allow traffic to or from its associated instances. You can modify the rules for a security group at any time. The new rules are automatically applied to all instances that are associated with the security group. Now, under Inbound Security Group Rules, notice that one rule exists right here. Security Group Rule 1. Remove this rule, and you can do that by selecting the Remove button on the right-hand side. Step 6, Configure Storage. So we're going to move up to Configuring Storage. In the Configure Storage section, keep the default settings. Amazon EC2 stores data on a network attached virtual disk called Elastic Block Store. You will launch the Amazon EC2 instance using a default of 8 GB disk volume. This will be your root volume, also known as a boot volume. Now we're going to expand the advanced details on step 7. For termination protection, select Enable. And that will be down here at the bottom, and we're going to select the option for Enable. When the Amazon EC2 instance is no longer required, it can be terminated, which means that the instance is deleted and its resources are released. A terminated instance cannot be accessed again, and the data that was on it cannot be recovered. If you want to prevent the instance from being accidentally terminated, you can enable termination protection for the instance, which prevents it from being terminated as long as the setting remains enabled. Now we're going to scroll to the bottom of the page, then copy and paste the code shown below into the user data box, which we'll see here right before we get to the summary section. And we're going to copy and paste this. And actually, because this keeps formatting, I'm going to open up a text file, and I'm just going to paste it here, just to make sure none of that formatting stays with it. And then I'm going to copy this again and add it under user data. When you launch an instance, you can pass user data to the instance that can be used to perform automated installation configuration tasks after the instance starts. Your instance is running Amazon Linux 2. The shell script you have specified will run as the root guest OS user when the instance starts. The script will 1. Install an Apache web server, HTTPD. 2. Configure the web server to automatically start on boot. 3. Run the web server once it has finished installing. And 4. Create a simple web page. Now at the bottom of the summary panel on the right side of the screen, we're going to choose Launch Instance. See here on the bottom right, and you will see a success message. Choose View All Instances. In the instance list, select Web Server. So we have our success. And you can see initialize, creating security groups, and launch initiation. Now here on the bottom, we're going to see View All Instances. And then in the instances list, select Web Server. We're going to hit this radio button here next to Web Server underneath Name. Review the information displayed in the Details tab. It includes information about the instance type, security settings, and network settings. Instance type is here. We have Security tab and Networking. The instance is assigned a public IPv4 DNS that you can use to contact the instance from the internet. So here's your public IPv4. To view more information, drag the window divider upwards. At first, the instance will appear in a pending state, which means it is being launched. It will then change to initializing and finally to run. And as you can see, my instance state up here on the top of the menu is set at running. Wait for your instance to display the following: instance state running, status checks, 2/2, checks passed, and congratulations, you have successfully launched your first Amazon EC2 instance. Come back for task 2, monitor your instance.